Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Just One Hit, the podcast where I, your host, Chris Jones, talks about one-hit wonders of yesteryear. And today we are talking about a doozy. So there's always been this long-running debate about penis size, whether bigger is better, cut or uncut. Is it about the motion of the ocean? How big is too big? No shorties are welcome in the house of Gillette with her 1994 hit aptly titled Short Dick Man. Now, I chose this one because I, like a lot of people nowadays, was aimlessly scrolling on TikTok and I came across the now viral video of Gillette performing the song on the Brazilian children's television show. I believe it's pronounced Zuza. Hopefully that's how you pronounce it. Because there are X's in these words, I'm not sure how X's are pronounced in Portuguese, or I think they speak Portuguese in Brazil. If I'm wrong, please someone correct me. Mind you, I had already seen this video when it circulated on Facebook a few years ago, which made me do a preliminary Google Wikipedia search. And I was taken aback how this actually peaked in the top 10 of a lot of countries and top 20 here in the US. Now, I'm not a prude or anything, but for such a brazenly titled and performed song, you would think it would be relegated to nichdom. I've never really heard anybody discuss the song really in depth. Like, I've never heard it on any oldie stations who spin it on like a Friday night dance mix, nor have I ever heard anybody recall like real fond memories of the song. I feel like it's more or lesser known for its bizarre performance video and not for like the actual hit power that it had. So today, let's take a deeper look at this fun phallic shaming hit. This is Short Dick Man by 20 Fingers and Gillette. The song bills Gillette as the feature artist, with the lead act being a group called 20 Fingers, which is consisted of 4 producers and DJs. Carlos Rosario, Manfred Moore, JJ Flores, and Onforio Lolino. Initially a duo with just Rosario and Moore, they called themselves 20 Fingers because they had 20 fingers between the both of them. There really isn't much background about the team before the big hit, but we do have a lot of information on Gillette herself. So Sandra Navarro Gillette, better known as Gillette, was born September 16, 1974 in New Jersey. She is of Mexican and Puerto Rican descent, and she grew up in Illinois, settling in the suburb of Romeoville, where she graduated high school in 1992. It says she grew up in Chicago and Houston, but I'm not too sure if the Houston part came from her childhood or when she was a young adult. It says that she attended the University of Houston a bit, studying drama before the success of Short Dick Man. Short Dick Man was written and produced by Carlos Rosario under the name Charlie Baby, with additional writing credits by Manny Moore. Their reason for writing the song was to subvert the expectations of the average radio listener. In an interview with the Los Angeles Times, Moore says that there were all these songs bashing women and treating them like sex objects, so they decided to turn the tables and get some attention in other ways, talking about men in particular. The duo shopped the song around to some singers, landing on Gillette eventually, who was working as a medical receptionist during this time. Initially, Gillette was hesitant to sing the song due to its unexpectedly vulgar lyrics, but eventually she relented. In that same LA Times interview, Gillette says the song was to strike back at all the women-bashing songs in pop with specific emphasis on the rap genre. She's quoted saying, "Some guys think nothing of putting down women, and I think that's disgusting. I'm a feminist, and I want to defend women. Maybe after hearing this, some of the men will think twice before they bash women. Women really love this record." And love this record they did. The song got some initial traction in the Chicago club circuit, and at the urging of a programmer at the Chicago radio station WBBFM B96, a clean version of the song was commissioned and hit the #1 spot on the station. I'm actually really glad they took this advice because I don't think it would have gone past the club scene without a clean version to help carry it on to mainstream radio. And I put clean version with hard air quotes because even the most sexually conservative person would hear this and they would clutch their chest extremely dramatically. The song definitely would have fizzled out at that point due to lack of any long-term promotion plans by the collective's record label SOS Records, but was luckily picked up by Hollywood-based Zoo Entertainment, a subsidiary of BMG whose most notable act was the rock band Tool. Now, as a man myself, you would think just by principle I wouldn't like Short Dick Man, well, because I am a man, but that's far from the truth. I mean, not, of course, the man part, because yes, I am a man. It's me not liking the song. Do I love the song? Not necessarily, but I do understand why the song was such a hit. And that is Gillette herself. Her delivery on this is very cliche 90s mean girl in a rom-com, but it has that bite, and that bite is hard. It stings. It latches on. It draws blood, and if you let it, it will take a chunk out of you. If you even have a fleeting thought about your manhood being less than spectacular, I suggest you stay far, far away from this song. I don't know if that's like the Chicago in her, but when she says, "It's got to be the smallest dick I have ever seen in my whole life. Get the fuck out of here." Like, I feel that, and I would take that personally if I was a different type of person. The song is quite affected, and if I were the said short dick man in question, I would not want to leave the house. Now, when it comes to the production, it's alright. It's thumping, it's bumping. I think it was actually really clever using those cuts of Gillette laughing. It really emphasized the message of the song, but there are a few elements that are a bit on the really awkward side. There's some noises that get introduced early into the song, and I'm not sure of what it is. I can only describe it as like a stalling steam engine. It goes that one. I don't know what it is, but it's just, it kind of grates on me, and I'm not a fan of grating music. I just cannot do grating music. And then there's the other part, like towards the middle-ish, towards the end of the song. It's I think it's Gillette's vocals, and she's like going It reminds me of that one Mad TV skit where it's like this old woman, I think she's played by Mo Collins, and she's making this weird kind of similar sound. I'll like insert a clip of it here so y'all can know what I'm talking about. And it just takes me back to that, and every time I hear it, I'm just like, ooh, it kind of makes me shudder a little bit. But if I did frequent clubs back during that time, I could see myself doing a little shoulder shimmy to this, because I can't dance to save my life, if we're being quite honest. Critics were actually quite positive to this song overall too, with most complimenting the beat and the song's sense of humor, with Wendy C. Mark from the Network 40 writing, "A throbbing bass line that's not bogged down by overproduction complements the eloquent and slightly politically incorrect vocals." In a retrospective Best Pop Singles of 1994 list for Idolator, Robbie Dahl writes, "In many ways, the song played at the time like the female response to hits by male artists that objectified women, such as Rex and Effect's Rump Shaker, which in itself is another one-hit wonder, and the buying masses grabbed on tightly. Short Dick Man received gold certifications in Australia, Germany, and the US, and a silver certification in France, and reached the top 10 in 12 countries, hitting number 1 in France and Italy. It reached the top 20 in 4 additional countries, including the US, where it peaked at number 14. While Gillette's follow-up single, Mr. Personality, underperformed in comparison to Short Dick Man, stalling outside the top 40 here in America, 20 Fingers was able to get one more hit under their belt in European countries with the appropriately titled Lick It featuring singer Rolla. And can you guess what that one was about? Yeah, I would just say, because this, I feel like I've already said the word dick so many times, but that song is about eating the box. I will just say that. It's about eating the box. And I just want to have a quick side note here. I love how each musical generation is just like, oh, back in my day, we didn't have all this vulgarity and nastiness in our songs. We left it to the imagination. We were classy about it. We were chaste. And then when you go back and you listen to certain songs from from like each era, there's always so many songs that are so explicitly sexual, and it's just so very funny. Each of our eras, we've always been talking sexually in it, and I don't think there's anything wrong with that, to be quite honest. And I think that is about it. This was a pretty short episode just because this hit didn't really have a lot of information behind it, but I still wanted to talk about the song because it was fresh in my mind. And I'm just glad that I got this out there because Short Dick Man is actually pretty much like a feminist anthem in a regard. I don't believe in body shaming in any way, shape, or form, but I do think the song is actually kind of cute, not gonna lie. So thank you for tuning in to this episode. I really appreciate it. If this is your first time listening to the podcast, we do have 2 previous episodes that should be up right now, that being on Into the Night by Benny Mardones and Steal My Sunshine by Len. I hope you have an amazing day, and I will see you on the flip side. Bye.